Hello, everyone. This is our Catskay. I'm here with Jewpiter, and this is the show that has a name that is offensive and cannot be defined by known science without causing someone from Berkeley's head to explode. It's Kaggot.
And
We,
think about it
we
this
won't
way.
explain.
We will explain. For once, I'm going to explain because the
Nope.
people deserve to know what it means.
They're not
Cat,
ready.
they deserve to know. If you took a 1940s German and asked him to call and sent me back in time and asked him to call me a name, you get the first part of Kaggot. If you took Cats and you threw him into a Westboro Baptist church meeting and asked them to call him a name, and you put that on the second part and melded them together, that's what Kaggot means.
It's offensive, and we love it because so are we.
Because
So
fuck them, that's why.
yes. So, continuing our tradition of trying, at least trying, not to talk about that which cannot be named in the quarantine season, we are going to be talking about something that couples used to be good at, couples and families, but really couples, and they seem to have kind of lost, and maybe they can get back, which is the art of living together and having contrary politics. I know it's too weird to think about because everyone is pure and perfect, except for the person that opposes them.
And I'll just say, when Katz and I do these, we've never really explained this, but when we do these, we talk for 2 minutes on the phone, and we're like, what are we going to talk about? And we, spitball one or two ideas. But for once, this comes from external sources, other than Katz, the love of my life, and we were talking about what we could do, and the most brilliant subject was brought up that it is true that not just in the coronavirus, which we're not talking about, we are giving you content that transcends corona. We're all sick of it. I'm sick of it. They took Tucker away from me. I can't watch my Tucker Carlson, my Ingram Angle, nothing without seeing corona. But the coronavirus does exacerbate the issue. But we all have to recognize that far before this, relationships recently in the era of Trump have just been so strained. There's nothing like what's happening right now. And so that's what we're talking about. And I think it's a fantastic topic.
It's true, because it used to be not all that uncommon that you would see, the husband and wife stereotypical, the husband's Republican, the wife's a Democrat, or even sometimes the opposite. Probably not as often, honestly, but you just don't have that anymore. Like my grandparents, they didn't really care very much about politics. I mean, I come from a multi-generational Democratic family, but it was just in my grandparents' day, it was just something that you did, really. I mean, and to be honest, like that was like 3 or 4 different parties ago. They've changed so much since then that
Right.
who knows? I don't think my grandparents would recognize the Democrats of today.
To call what your grandparents subscribe to the Democrat Party is a very big stretch. It's a very big stretch.
Because if you asked my grandmother or my grandpa, and my grandpa was very open-minded, both of them were very open-minded in their day, but I don't think that they would find the idea of open borders, transitioning children at the age of 6,
Cutting their grandchildren's penises off and injecting them with hormones at 13 years old, your grandparents would be like, "Yeah, I'm open-minded."
I always wanted a granddaughter. Yeah, not so much. I don't even it's been a long time that since my grandparents have been with us, so I can't really remember too many of the political conversations we had because, I'll be honest, I was pretty young when they were still around, and by the time they got older, we just weren't talking about politics. We were more talking about, my hip. Have you seen it? Where's my hip?
It's over there, honey. Get away from me.
Oh, God. QVC. No. Take it back. Take it back.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh,
Too bad, you old hag.
Oh, God. My grandma did want one of those. But no. It was easier just to let her live with us.
Because we're not getting derailed.
Yeah, we're doing
There
it.
was a World War II veteran, okay? Like a bad motherfucker. They used to call him Mac the Black because how dark his beard and hair were. He was a hardcore conservative from the day he was born to the day he died. Just a hard, gritty guy. My Nana was all of us showing both of them. They're both dead. Um, she was very sweet, more liberal, very, social liberal type lady. But if you told my Nana that we were going to open up all the borders and cut my nephew's penises off, or if I had nieces, transition them into men and give them weird clit penises. Not to get too, all right, well, that's too disgusting. But it's not the same thing.
No,
But they lived together in perfect harmony because it was man and woman. They loved each other. And love used to transcend the politics. But right now, the politics are so deeply divisive and angry that we're seeing divorces, we're seeing breakups of families, people are fighting over their kids. The mother or the father wants to transition their kid at 8 and the other one's like, "Hey, please don't." This is what we're going to be talking about. And it's so relevant right now because as
we're stuck,
you're stuck, you're
and there's
quarantined
there's really
with
nowhere
these
else to
people.
go. Yeah. Um, I think one of the biggest changes that brought this on is again going back to our grandparents and our parents when they were our age. That it's kind of hard to remember, but it used to be taboo to talk about politics,
Or
like
religion.
politics or religion, but especially politics, because you never knew if you were going to offend someone, and like it wasn't considered to be important that to know exactly how like your neighbor voted or how like your brother-in-law felt about a so and so. I mean, yeah, people always talked about politics, but there was a time and a place, a rhythm, and it was supposed to be more or less friendly. At least that's the idea. I'm sure
Well,
that
what
this
about
slipped up.
yard signs? What about yard signs? Yard signs used to
That's
be
true. That does go
important,
way back.
not the. And now I walk down my street, and there were Warren signs everywhere. I have not seen a Bernie sign, a Biden sign, but all over my neighborhood where I work were Warren signs. They're all down now. But my point is, if I were to put a Trump sign out in my yard, my house would be vandalized. I would be ostracized. Now, to not see, this is supposed to be non-political. It's more like relationship wise, but just to throw a little bit of, just to inject a tiny bit of politics, it's coming. The discourse was corrupted by the left. It's not right wingers tearing Warren signs out of houses. It's not us. It's not us leaving every single divorce I've seen due to politics. Every single vandalization of a house I've seen due to politics is a left winger destroying a Trump supporter. It's almost,
Yeah,
it's so rare for it to be the reverse.
I agree. There was that video a few years ago about that woman who became so enraged when she was on a plane sitting next to a Trump supporter that she got ejected
And
from the
she got
plane.
kicked off.
Hmm. And I, this is
God.
it's very much a symptom of the same disease. We've lost the ability to disagree with each other
Well, who's we?
as a
That's my point.
society.
But no, but I'm saying there's we, as in you and I, as in our viewers, as in our friends, we have not lost that. The love of my life, the person that I mean, when I met my
MAGA.
last girlfriend, well, yes, look at her, she's baring her head. But when I met, so the girl that I met was a Hillary supporter, not really, but she went. The place that she was staying literally bust them all out to vote for Hillary.
Hmm.
We met, and I was fine with that. I loved her. But over time, through discourse and talking, she changed completely to being pretty far right. But my point is, you can't do that on the left. The left has no tolerance for that. And so right now, if you were to tell me that the Democrats were literal Nazis, which that's not too far from the truth.
Uh,
If you were to tell me that, I would hate them viscerally. I would viscerally hate them. I wouldn't want to hear what they said. I wouldn't care. And so when these, I don't want to say housewives, but when women,
Karen.
right, exactly, Karens and Beckys, when they hear, they don't really watch the news, but their girlfriends tell them they're Nazis, they're racist, they're bigots, they're anti-Semites. Yeah, you should hate those people. But guess what? They don't dig any deeper. And so when their husband says, "Oh yeah, I support the president," they're like,
I thought I knew you.
people.
I can't believe what happened to the man I married, and why do I sound like a 50s caricature? Oh, Lord. Yeah. Um, again, it's a recurring theme as far as I'm concerned in the slow degradation of society. It's social media, I really think, because it used to be that you'd have to kind of dig a little bit to figure out what someone felt about politics, but now it's so easy and people are encouraged to share ever more intimate details of every innocuous aspect of their life on social media. And so you go, I mean, I remember when Trump was first elected, a whole round of my friends, and like I said, at the time I was more liberal and I was, I was depressed and all that, but whatever. But I remember a whole lot of my friends saying, like, if you voted for Trump, you should just unfriend me right now. And at the time I was like, I was sort of like, oh, that's whatever. Like, I don't remember how I reacted exactly. But now I'm looking back, I'm like, that's really crazy because
And mean.
it is like,
Mean.
it is because, I mean, like, we've somehow, and I keep speaking in broad strokes, but when did we, the broad American we, lose the ability to see politics as anything other than a complete binary? Yes, no, hot, cold, good, evil. There's
Trump,
no nuance.
Then took the words out of my mouth, fucker. But the nuance is gone, and I'll tell you why. Trump denuanced us all because when he came into the picture, he's such a Brit Hume, who used to be a fantastically objective and great reporter. I used to really like him, but he clearly has disdain for the president. But he was saying, if you look at society right now, everyone all the time is talking about Trump. If you go to any household in this country, his name will be on everyone's lips, either negatively or positive. But the problem is, Obama was that way, except the media didn't force feed everyone to hate him. But,
no.
So it's not Trump's fault that there's no nuance, but he's the cause of it.
He's the latest stage of it because Obama was definitely hyper divisive. And I will admit, there was a segment of the conservative population that had Obama derangement syndrome. I don't think it was quite as
I did.
extreme.
I did.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. I did.
And people were freaking out, and I think Obama was definitely like the early onset of the social media hysteria. Like he was the first president to really use social media. Now Trump's up to the social media game and done it again. But you got this thing where, like, there was a segment of the Republicans who were completely opposed to Obama, and the Democrats who were saying you're racist for disagreeing with him, which I think that really hardened the divide because it no
did
longer,
for me. It did for me.
because there was no it was in bad faith. The idea that anything that people said about Obama was closeted racism. I don't recall ever hearing about dog whistles before Obama was elected.
Said.
And
well
that's what
said. It was in bad faith. That was the best way to put it. But when you and I'm what, a decade younger than you. When you and I were growing up, let's be honest, our generation basically was done with racism. We were, and I don't care. And that's why the Marxists had to redefine racism as to mean black people can't be racist, only white people can be racist, and even if you're not racist, you can have dog whistles or you can be institutionally racist. And what's that?
Unconsciously racist. They made racism.
Subconscious racism.
They made racism into a kind of like radioactivity. Like, if you're white, then you just radiate a certain amount of racism.
Right. You're glowing like me right now.
Mm-hmm.
All the windows open. My skin's glowing racism.
You have a racist glow about you.
Are you catching my racism? Well,
Mm,
she
she-
is a racist. She
well,
hates the whites, by the way.
well,
That's
look,
fine.
well, look, she's been cooked to a cinder by the radiation. MAGA was white when she first came into Jupiter's house,
And
but
my racism blacked her.
you charred her with racism.
Put an R in the chat for MAGA.
And send
But
some luck.
but their whole shtick was to everything the dude did. There's I forget the quote or the stat, but Obama bombed a country every 8 minutes during his presidency. That was I mean, not literally, but if
I don't
you,
think if you average it out,
yeah, that's
I don't think
exactly
we
right.
I don't think we had used drone strikes with the same proliferation.
No, he was the drone king. They
Mm-hmm.
also called him the deporter in chief for how many people he deported. Yet
Mm.
Trump's like, all I want to do is build a wall so I don't have to deport people. And they're like, how dare you? But if you said that about Obama, guess what you were? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with racist.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, I'm sorry. No, they just call you racist. That's what I meant. Racist.
And maybe there is one big difference between Obama and Trump. Like we completely derailed ourselves, but it's still relevant. Obama,
It is. No, it
yeah,
applies.
it
But
does.
no, but wait, before you do that, I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
but this is the groundwork. What we're saying is about relationships and people who are fighting with their spouses. What we're saying is that we're building the groundwork up saying when Obama was in office, this all started. Beforehand, the entire span of our country, this has never happened. You could easily love someone and be in love with them and want to die for them and live for them, yet still disagree with them on politics. But after Obama, it became you're either a fucking Nazi, asshole, racist, or you're with us and we're great. That's what it became.
Definitely.
So it is relevant.
Yeah, I mean, when did the president, not even the current president, just the idea of the president, capital P, become a like definitive aspect of people's daily reality? I don't remember. I know people. The president has always been an important figurehead, an important part of American society, but it's gotten to the point where, like, I mean, if you were to Google the sheer number of times that the president's name is or the office of the president is mentioned in a day, I mean, I wonder how much it's gone up since, like, again, Obama, now Trump. I mean, and if
It's true.
it's gonna be Trump again, most likely. And
Think about Bush. Think about Bush. You
people
never
get
heard about Bush, and then 9/11. All right, so here's what we grew up with. When there was a time of national strife, the president would come on and he would either make or break his presidency.
yeah.
I think George W. Bush handled the 9/11 crisis admirably, even though he did it. He caused 9/11. He did 9/11. But but no. But my point is, you would see them on TV when there was something going on, when there was a big deal. Now, you literally can't. I was trying to show somebody something, and I went on Google, and it was just empty Google. And the first thing I saw was Trump is botching it was just Google News. Trump is botching the corona crisis. And it's like, all you hear is Trump, 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 Trump sucks. And during Obama, all the time, all you heard was God King saves us all, the Emperor, and the evil Nazi Republicans.
What did Bill Maher call him? Chocolate Jesus.
Chocolate Jesus. And your man Chris Matthews, yeah, said, I just feel a tingle up my leg when I see Obama speak. But back to the relationship thing, when you force feed the masses constantly, day after day, just beat into their head, either the president is God or the president is the devil. When you do that constantly, one side who's getting the media bias against or for is going to be against or for. And so if you have a me and I don't like Obama and I like Trump and I have a girlfriend or a wife who is force-fed this media, all of a sudden I'm a Nazi and the love of my life thinks I am.
I think the issue that we're running into is that I'm thinking back, and I also remember, a lot of Bush derangement syndrome. I mean, the president has always been a convenient pinata for the disenfranchised, or whatever side has lost in that election. They use the president as a pinata to just beat, like, and represent all of their things. That's normal. That's healthy, I suppose, because that's the reason we have representative democracies. The difference is, it used to be that you could hold an opinion and that was just an opinion. But we've gotten to the point now where, like, it's not unusual to think, like, if you say something, well, if you're for this, well, then, like, that speaks volumes about you. Like, you can't.
And every layer about you.
Yeah. Like, you can't hold an opinion now without it basically being predefined. Everything else that you think, everything else that you want.
Martina Navratilova.
What about her?
Tennis player.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
best female tennis player of all time.
Yes.
She's a hardcore liberal. She was a lesbian. Best female tennis player ever. Like, I mean,
yes.
Like, by far. Like, I want to give an example, like LeBron James or Michael Jordan. She's better because there's no one in her wheelhouse.
No, she was the category. She was what you measure up to.
And she's lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And she came out and said that I think it's wrong. And she was, by the way, she was the first lesbian rights activist of her status. She was the first high-status lesbian to fight for lesbian rights. So she comes out and says, and this is a hardcore lefty, she says, it's not right for transgender, I don't know, whatever, females, meaning male to female, to compete against women. You're ruining women's sports. This isn't fair. If I played against a top Venus Williams and Serena Williams played against top five, like the 600th best male in the world and got whooped, she's like, this isn't fair. And she was destroyed. They crucified her. Martina Navratilova, lesbian rights activist, hardcore lefty, all she did was say biological males should not compete against biological females, and she was done. She was finished. She had to come out with an apology. And when you have that type of environment, how are you and I are very nuanced. You and I hold different beliefs on certain things. Usually, I mean, we're pretty much in line, but
there's not a single issue that we believe uniformly, like 100%, with the possible exception of, like, what to do with pedophiles, which is to put them in a garbage disposal. But besides that, everything else has
gang rape by raccoons and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you and I, if we disagree on something, we talk about it, but you're still my best friend. Doesn't matter. And if, for instance, you're dating someone or married to somebody, if you love them, if you can't see past politics, then it's not love. I don't see how this is even a possibility. If it was an offshoot thing, like if it was like one or two couples, I'd be like, who cares? But it's not. It's widespread, and it goes back to what you were saying about social media. Social media is causing us to cheat. It's causing us to distance ourselves from our loved ones because we have constant human interaction. That's why I distance myself from Twitter all the time, pissing you off and everyone else.
Well, probably less me, since I'm the only one that gets. Even if you're not.
I talk to you every day, so yeah.
But other people, your other, yes, and I understand. And yeah, people have stopped seeing people as people, and they've started seeing them as, like, these, again, like social, like the old school MySpace days, where, like, they encourage you to, like, list off all your favorite books, all your favorite bands, and people are just reducing themselves to these spreadsheets of positions and hashtags, and you're just not getting the sense of, like, who a person is anymore, because we don't really see each other anymore. And it destroyed all of our friendships, and now it's starting to destroy marriages. And
but especially, wait, do me a favor, talk briefly about the gay community, because I see it strong, and it's more prevalent in the gay community than any other community.
Well, gays have, yes. Well, gays have always had kind of a weird relationship with politics, though.
No, but look at Brandon Straka. Look at all these people all these gay men who like Trump, who are getting their
Yeah,
friends on Facebook being like, "We're done. Don't ever talk to me again. You're a bigot. You're a homophobe to gay men."
yeah, there's
And in
that.
the Jewish community as well,
Yeah,
believe me.
that's always been there in the gay community, but it used to be, again, not quite as, I think it's just gotten worse for everyone. Gays have always had the issue of like, if you're a gay Republican, like, don't talk to me. Like, that's
Right.
always been a thing. But it used to be kind of weird, honestly, to be a gay Republican, because for a long time the Republicans weren't exactly, they weren't that fond of the gays. And
Well, they
now,
were outwardly not fond. They didn't give a
well,
fuck.
I know, but it is what
They were appealing to the donor base.
it was a different time. Let's just say that. Like, in that particular incarnation of the Republican Party, it wasn't necessarily the best time. Anyway, yeah, it
Well,
it,
wait.
it was different. But
Can we just the future impact of what's happening right now with the quarantine
mhm.
and also in general on the impact of couples, like people that actually love each other. And I don't believe, I get that passions are running high. And it's like sports. For once, both females and males are both into the same sport, which is politics. You're either fucking hate Trump or you love him. The future impact of that on couples is going to be devastating on the children that they leave behind in divorce. As a divorced child, believe me, I understand the power of divorce. The power that it's going to cause in the devastation on families that already have children, they already are established, they're going to have to split up, lawyers who everyone loves lawyers. This pandemic and this politics pandemic is going to put lawyers up 1,000% to business. And the big thing with that is if you really want to destroy America, the best way you do it is by cutting at the heart of families. If you really want to destroy America, the best way you can do it is by pitting one child's parent against another and splitting up families. So what do we do about it is the question. How do we reach people? Can we give a little bit of hope, like a little love shot to
Mhm.
families out there who disagree or are going through this?
I think what we can best say is it's important for us to, the greater us, to, when we have a disagreement with our loved ones, to remember that we love them first and foremost. That should be the most important thing, because it's not true what we've been told so far, which is that, like, so I'll use myself as an example. Like, I'm gay, and I know it's shocking, but part of my family didn't know that for a very long time. And to be honest, they weren't, I don't, even now, I'm pretty sure that I'm not talking about my parents, but there are other members of my family who are probably not all that fond of that. And, it's whatever. I don't hate them because they don't necessarily accept me, because I don't really interact with them a whole lot. But even if I did, like, that's just kind of who they are. And it's based on suspicion, because they've never treated me poorly. As well, we still acknowledge that we're family. When we see each other, we still are kind and polite to each other, because that's what you do. The current methodology is that, like, I should be going around like, okay, so I'm gay, and you have to support that. Say hello to my husband. You weren't nice enough to him. Okay, you know what? You get out of my life. Just get out. And it's stupid. Even if this was the thing, I don't actually care whether my relatives particularly like that I'm gay or not. I care about how they treat me when I'm around them. And I feel like that's what we have to start focusing on, is just courtesy and saying, like, okay, I love you. I disagree with you, but I love you. So
I
that
I fucking love you. That was Alexa, show me nuance. That was perfect. That's exactly right. And that was the best contrast between not being accepted and being forced to accept. You got to find that happy medium where you're like, look, we disagree, but everything else about you, or not even everything, but there are things about you that I love, and I want to be around you, and you're someone worthwhile, and you find that nuance in people. You find that middle ground where you're like, you know what? No one's perfect. No one's going to find everything in common. And we might disagree on very strong things, but we can love each other. And the most important thing to remember is Trump is going to be gone he won't be president in 20, 30 years. Like, he'll probably serve 6 or 7 more terms. And kidding for everyone out there.
His Twitter profile will always have a long shadow, no matter what office he holds.
but my point is, this time is going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Don't throw people out of your lives that love you and will probably do things for you that you might not even be willing to do for them. Don't throw people out of your lives that you love and that they love you because of something so trivial and mundane as politics. Who cares who the president is? It's going to keep changing. Mm-hmm. But give people a little bit of decency, a little bit of loyalty, and say, I love you. You're my husband. You're my wife. We disagree, but we did this for a reason. We've been in love. We've known each other.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you throw me out because of who I support for president?
Yeah, stop allowing abstract issues that don't have direct impact on your life and people that are far away to have the power in your life here and now. Something that happens a long way away, or a person that you've never met, is not as important as the person that is in your life right now.
Can I wrap us up with something?
Yes, please.
So I'm going to bring up, because this is the person that gave us the topic. She will remain unnamed because I have not been given permission to name her. But when I first met X, as I said, she was a Hillary supporter. How did I change her mind? I didn't. I really didn't. She changed her own mind. I didn't. Don't force your politics on people.
No.
Let them be what they want to be. Why is she now a Trump supporter is the real core question. Why? Here's why. I didn't tell her what to think. I didn't force my politics on her. I showed her my viewpoint through videos, through talking, through being in a relationship,
and
through having communication and being respectful. And the point is, if you think you're going to Nazi-style fascistically force your thoughts on someone else, then you're the worst. And you're going to fail, by the way, because it always fails. But tyrannical behavior doesn't work. What does work is just say, give me a chance. You can tell me your viewpoint, and I'll listen. Mm-hmm. You can try to change my mind, but may I have the opportunity to change yours?
Perfect.
And say that fails, still, if you love somebody, or you claim to, you won't bail on them for politics.
If you love someone, treat them that way, no matter what.
No matter what.
All right, people. Hang in there. Don't go completely stir crazy, and we'll see you next week.